What is going on? Welcome to a very special episode of Nerdtooine and a Movie Podcast. I am your host. I have a very special guest with me. You've probably seen his artwork and didn't even know who it was because most people don't care about artwork, who the artist is, but I do. So here we are today with a very talented artist. Why don't you go ahead and introduce yourself, Joseph?
What's up, man? My name is Joseph Reed. Most people know me as Old Man Venom on Instagram, and yeah, man. Like you said, most people. What did you say? They don't. They know the art. They don't know the art. Yeah.
Well, and you know, I have to be very honest. Up until a few years ago, I was the same way. I literally just like got artwork and comics and stuff just to get them because I liked them, and then about a year ago, I started like going, I wonder who did each one of these arts, and then I realized that I had a taste. And I had favorite artists that I didn't even realize I always buy their stuff because I just like their artwork. And then I started going, maybe I should pay attention to that shit.
Right.
But yeah, it's a lot of people don't go that deep into it. And I really want to try to bring as many of my listeners, at least, to have that quality. Because once you find an artist, you'll realize that you like their work no matter what they're doing. And I think that's definitely the case for you.
Right, and it'll even add to a story. It gives it a certain feel that like if other artists were to do it, it wouldn't necessarily have that feel. So yeah, I totally get what you're saying.
And I think nowadays with the emergence of like a Peach Momoko, or like Miko Andolfo, who they have their own actual comics. And people are starting to see, that cover, I've seen that art before. Who is, oh my God, no, it's their comic now. So I think people are starting to at least, like, either at least subconsciously realize that they have taste in specific artists that they like.
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah,
and in case you didn't know, the background we got here, I can't really, all the background on it, that's actually his art, that Venom you see behind you. I'm trying to like point in the right direction. There we go. That way.
Yeah, man.
I'm not good at the mirrors.
No, that was really dope that you put that on there. And that's the thing. Like, I feel like I've been drawing pretty much my whole life, and it's always been like monstery type stuff. So Venom himself, there's just something about drawing him. It's just so much more fun. Like you can just kind of turn your mind off and just do whatever you want. As to other characters, you got to make the costume a certain way. Like with Venom or symbiotes in general, it's always just it's a lot more free.
Oh yeah, you could definitely do like whatever you want, like especially with like someone like Venom or I would say more so Carnage, who just always just forms whatever weapons he wants. You can come up with some crazy stuff and just throw it in there, and you look at it, go, yep, that's Carnage. You know what I mean? Like it's not like you said with other characters, if you don't get that costume just right, you're gonna have people like, oh my God, you see what they did with the new costume? It's absolutely horrible. I'm boycotting this new Spider-Man costume and I'm done. No more Spider-Man for me. It's like it's still the same character.
Exactly. And you know,
it's real. Like if you go to like, and I know people watch this may not be sports fanatics, but if you go to like a baseball game and the guy's not wearing the exact cleats you want, are you gonna be like, nope, I'm not watching him today, I'm going home, that's it? No, I mean it's still that player. Like, what's wrong with you? Like, enjoy the content. It's not everything's gonna. That's the thing with comics, and like the way comics go is that like they just reboot things, different timelines, different realities. So just enjoy all the crazy possibilities we can get instead of like, oh, that new Spider-Man costume. I'm not a fan of the new Spider-Man costume. I'm not going to read the new issues. Nope. I'm going to wait till they go back to the other Spider-Man. Come on. Like, really? Really?
That's like Dan Slott's Superior Spider-Man. There were so many people that were like so pissed off about that. I thought it was brilliant. Like, and they changed his costume and everything. I liked the way it looked. Like, there were so many people mad about that. And then once it came back to just standard cookie cutter Peter Parker with his red and blue suit, everyone was happy again. But I don't know. I think if people were to take the time and actually read Superior Spider-Man, that shit is awesome.
Well, and that's another thing. Like we were talking about, they see what they want and then just go, I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to dive in. Like, There's been some of the best comics I've ever read are ones that I was like, I don't know about this. You know what? Let me give it a shot. Like one of the ones I'm reading right now that not a lot of people know about is Savage. It's a Valiant comic. It's basically like you take Mowgli and put him in present day England, but instead of it being in a jungle, it's freaking dinosaurs and shit. Like I heard the concept, I was like, I don't know about that, and then I started reading, and I was like, holy crap, this is cool. I like this, and if people like, and that's another a great thing with the indies now is that there's so many great comics that are not tights and capes, and nothing wrong with the superhero like part of comics at all, but comics and is just such a diverse medium. You can tell just about any story on it. So why limit yourself to just the superhero stuff?
Which is very true. And yeah, I've always been into, the Marvel DC standard, like you said, capes and tights. But as the years have gone on, we've all gotten older. We were blessed with Image Comics, which has been they've been consistently putting out comic books where people don't even have superpowers and they're just incredible. Like Walking Dead. It's not a superhero comic, but that was like one of the top selling comics of all time. So yeah, comics are just, they're literally taking over, and it's so interesting because I'm sure, I mean, you have both, it's like, I feel like I've been seeing this coming for a long time. Like once the movie started, it was like, okay, so I remember back in the day, when I was in high school, I was collecting comics, and maybe one or two other students in my entire, school were probably into the same thing. Nowadays, if you were to go to high school, even if they're not collecting comics, most of these jock kids can tell you anything about these Marvel movies, all the little Easter eggs and blah, 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 blah. So, like, I feel like I've kind of seen it coming, and it's definitely awesome. But it's kind of weird at the same time. I feel like they need to tone it back just a little bit, especially when they start branching out everywhere with all these different things. Just kind of, I'm glad the comics are still going.
Well, I agree entirely. I actually did a whole episode about how the nerds won. How like we are now in charge. Like, and when I was just like you, like, I was an athlete in high school. Like I played baseball, basketball, lacrosse, and I swam. So like I was around all the jocks, and I had to like pretend like I wasn't a nerd, like just to fit in. And and I regret it to this day. But I mean, obviously, as a young kid, how was I supposed to know that I was gonna be like in my 30s now, going, man, I wish I would have just been true to myself this whole time. Imagine where I'd be right now if I just decided, you know what, screw all of them. I'm gonna like what I like and watch this, dudes. Like I really wish I would have done that. But I agree. Now it's everything that we like is now cool. Like one of my favorite rappers, Echo, he's like, now it's cool to like all the things that we always did, right? And I'd be mad about it if I thought about it for more than a second, but now I'm just glad about all the sick content. And I was like, you know what? Exactly. I'm like looking back like, man, you guys were making fun of me now, and now you're sending me messages like, hey, I just saw this in the MCU. Can you explain this to me? Sure, right. Absolutely can. But remember when you said superheroes were stupid? Just remember, that's all I want. I just want you to say out loud, oh, yes, I remember that I told you, oh, you're such a nerd, that sucks. Now you're sitting here going, hey, man, I need some help. Can you please, like, tell me who Shang-Chi is? Man, no. You know what? No. You're going to go in looking stupid. Like, that's all you get. But, yeah, it's definitely a great time to be a nerd, for sure. For sure.
It really is. It really is. And I too have had, I don't know what it is. I guess because I'm in comics, I'm supposed to know everything about the movies, but I've had several of my friends that are the farthest from anything comic related, like hit me up and do the same thing. Like, hey, did this character do this because of that? And it's kind of surreal. It's like,
oh yeah, no. When my mom asks me, like my mom goes, okay, so explain this to me. I'm like, all right, are you ready for this? Because if you ask me to explain this, you need to sit there for at least 45 minutes while I explain this, because this is not just a simple answer you're asking me. And they're like, okay. They're like, all right.
But it's a beautiful thing because motherfuckers don't even realize it, but it's bringing everyone together in some sort of way. So I'm all about it. I don't have a with you know, the fact that everyone's into superheroes and stuff now. It's just
Yep.
tune it back a little bit. So, like an example, we buy comics, right? Every comic that comes out for the super hot character gets like 50 freaking covers. Like, tone it a little bit, just a little bit.
Yeah, no, the amount of covers on a lot of these big, like especially the new, like Berserker 1 had like 80 covers, I swear. Like, and
It's insane.
on top of that, another thing about everyone getting in on it is that now sometimes the real comic book heads can't even get the books we want because people are coming in
Yep.
and snatching them all up. And like, don't get me wrong, I will not sit here hypocritically and say I don't sell comics too. I will not lie. I buy books to sell as well, but I won't go and buy the entire run that a store has.
I won't
No.
either. But if I go to a store and I see like a certain variant and there's a stack of them, I might get one or two. If I come back a few
Right.
days later and there's like one or two, like next week, if there's still one there, I'll buy it. And yes, I mean that's this is the thing about comic books that everybody just needs to get over, man. Like everyone has the concept that these things retain value. So whether
Mhm.
you sell or collect, like at the end of the fucking day, that shit's on everyone's mind. So people just need to get over that. Like, just accept it. It's a part of comic collecting. It sucks, especially
Absolutely.
when, like you're saying, the people that buy everything. But I mean, as long as you got to kind of get deep into the game, talk to your comic shops, you know, set up pull lists. You can get stuff held for you if you really really need to get it.
Mhm.
But
Oh no,
as far
absolutely.
as like exclusives, where like
Yeah.
I'll get like all the ratio variants for an issue I want, and then they release like 20 exclusives. If one really stands out to me, I'll get it. But if all the others sell out like crazy, like I'm not losing any sleep. I'm not going to chase them. So it is what it
Yeah,
is.
I'm pretty much the same way. I've actually veered away from the ratios unless they're fire. I personally like a lot of the exclusives because I have specific artists that anything they drop I want. And a lot of times they're not the ratio covers. Like Illis Illuminati, Javin, I can't think of his last name, but
Mm-hmm.
he's done a lot of Department of Truth, and he did that sick Department of Truth Nirvana cover. Like anything he
Yeah.
drops, I just grab it. Like and I said this the other day. I was like, it can literally be a blind bag. Like he could be like, here, this is. I'm not going to show you what this is, but it's my artwork and it's this book. Done. Give it to me. Like, give it to me. Like, I don't care. Like, and if it doesn't hold as much value as the 1 in 25 or the 1 in 50, I really don't care. Like, I'm not in when I sell comics. What I use it for is to try to flip to get more keys that I want. Like, what I literally just did was last week I secured two of my all-time grails because of it. I got Wolverine #1, that first from that limited series.
Yeah, Frank Miller.
In like in
Yeah.
like the most superb condition I've ever seen, and Darth Vader #3, fourth print, first appearance of Dr. Aphra. Like I've been
Hell
like
yeah.
searching for those comics forever. So I took my proceeds and said, "Hey, you still got those comics we talked about a couple months ago? Yeah, I want them now. I want them now." Like
And that's
and
definitely part of it.
and then that's the thing, and I had someone in one of my shows be like, "Oh, you're just selling comics to try to make money. You want? I'm not trying to get rich, but yeah, if I can make a couple $100 and use that towards something I really wanted, shit, I'm not passing that opportunity up. You can kiss my ass. Like,
Yeah,
no,
no one can pass that opportunity up. As a matter of fact, it's not up there. I thought it was, but I sold a cover a long time ago because I was at a moment where I was like, I stopped collecting briefly for a while,
mm,
and then these comics, I had a long box that just followed me around for years, and I finally found myself one day like, what the fuck am I going to do with these things? And I ended up selling a few, and one of them I sold it, and then like probably about a year or so later, I started to slowly get back into comics. And I'm like, man, I shouldn't have sold that. And I looked it up to see what it was going for, and it was just like, shit, dude, I'm not gonna be able to do that. But at the same time, I had a bunch of Deadpool, I had a bunch of Batman, I had all this other stuff that I enjoyed, but it really didn't hold that special place, you know, with me. So it was just kind of there. I was like, you know what? Sold all of that and bought that damn book back, and now I have it back in my collection. So it's like That's
Yeah, no,
whenever people do that, man, like bravo, bravo. I have no problem seeing people do that, man.
I literally just did that with last week. So I had a Riri Ironheart #1. Now
Ooh.
it's really up until the confirmation that she was going to be in Black Panther 2 as well as her own show. It wasn't even that hot of a book. Maybe you can get one for $20-$30. In great condition on the high end. Well, I got mine for like $15, and then I sold it on my show for like $40, and then instantly was like, oh no. I actually want that. Literally right after the show, I went on and bought another one and took like a loss of like $10 just so I could have it back in my collection. Like I legitimately regretted it less than 10 minutes after the show, after the adrenaline came down from selling. I was like, oh, damn it, and got right on and just bought another one. I couldn't help myself. I just couldn't.
That happened with me. It was the freaking the 2012 Venom variant for the X Force issue 20. Sold that, and then it was a slow burn, but like I said, once I started to get back into the comics, that it was like damn, that is just a stab to the heart. Like I feel like if I can't get that book back, then I just need to not collect. So I tried to get it back. I got it back, and it was all through selling stuff that I didn't really, care too much for.
Yeah, and
it was awesome.
It's great when you get that book back and you're just like, yes,
yeah, and that's exactly how it
precious. They stole it from us.
I locked myself in this room and nobody messed with me for like a day. I just need to stare at this thing, just apologize to it.
It's so pretty.
Like I said, if the comic does make you feel that way, get rid of it.
Yep. No, absolutely. And so what? And we really just started talking. We didn't even like. I had this whole script, and we just randomly just ran and just took off. So I'm gonna try to get back on at least a little bit of topic. So what's your when you first got into comics and like nerd stuff? What brought you into that realm? What's your nerd origin story?
Oh man, so my sister's father was always a card collector. And I used to sit around and watch this man take he would have tweezers with cotton balls. He would open the packs and he would pull them out, and he was into it. And then he come home one day with Mars Attacks trading cards, and that was just like my first introduction to wow, there's stuff like this that exists. And the artwork for it was just this is pretty cool. Later on down the lines, I don't know if you remember, there was a card series called Dinosaurs Attacks. If you've never heard of them, look them up, man. They're the most bloodiest, ridiculous cards ever. So he always was into that. He eventually opened up a comic book shop where he sold cards, and then he had some comics. And I was always there with my cousin, as a kid, and there was always comics everywhere. And it wasn't until this comic. Seeing a bunch of that just kind of stood out to me. And as the years progressed,
you actually froze a little bit. Can you show the comic again?
Yeah, my bad. It was pretty much the Amazing Spider-Man 300.
Oh yes.
So he had a bunch of these in the shop, and it just captivated me. I was just like, I don't know why that's so cool to me. And then he started bringing home the Marvel cards, and it just kind of progressed from there. And then I just kind of got into my own thing, but Venom and the symbiote was the main thing that always stuck out to me. It was just so cool to me. And I just kind of collected for a little while, and eventually, like I said, I took a brief break. At the same time, I used to play drums with a metal band. We started playing all over, doing DIY tours and all this shit. So that was my life for 6 years. At the same time, I do believe that is when Eddie Brock was given cancer, and Spawn is another big, character of mine. Mm-hmm. And I think around then they were just killed off the Violator or something like that. Violator was my all-time favorite character. So all my favorite characters were just being killed off. So at the same time I had music going on, I just stepped out of it. And I was out of it for a while. And like I said, I had these long box of comics everywhere, and I opened it up one day thinking maybe it's time to just sell these things, and it's just exploded. I don't know what happened, man. I just got back into it.
I understand that more so than probably anyone, because I was out of comics for a long time, actually 2 separate times. Like I said, when I was in high school, I played sports, so I stopped getting new comics and everything, and then what brought me back was Civil War #1.
Dude,
I was in
you know
Books a
what?
Million, and when I saw that, I said Civil War, grabbed it, read it, and that was it. That is literally the only run that I didn't get rid of when my ex put the ultimatum in. It's either me or the comics. Like, I was like, fine, I choose you, but I have to send these back home because I'm never getting rid of these till the day I die. Like,
Right.
she definitely wasn't happy, but I was able to keep my Civil War. I out of like the 150 whatever issues, I think I'm at like 125. Like, I have almost every connected issue in my PC in my closet right now. Like, I had that my whole life. Yep.
Got the same thing, man. Dude, it's crazy. Being a comic collector, you don't realize that no matter what, how many times you move in life, you're always going to have these boxes just following you around, and it's just this wasn't part of the deal.
But it is a good problem to have, though. I mean, think like in the grand scheme of things, it's like, man, I have these things that I love with a passion that will never leave me until I let them leave me. Like there's in the long box. Like it's like the raft. Like once you're getting there, unless I let you out or Captain Frickin' America comes, you are stuck in there until otherwise noticed.
Like your own personal like time capsule vault.
Exactly, especially like, and I don't know about you, but when I go into like my long box, that's where all my like, what I call my untouchables are for the most part. Like that's like the one that I go into the least because that's where everything I know I don't want to get rid of is in there. You ever like pick a comic up and remember how you feel when you first picked it up?
Yeah.
Like instantly, just that feeling just washes over. You're like, oh man, I remember I got dumped 3 days before I got this book. Like so that's what I love. It like comics have been such a big part of my life for so long that it was there during the bad times, the good times. Like I feel like I'm married to comics. Like no matter what happens, baby, I'll be there with you until the very end. You know what I mean? Like I don't care what happens. I'm always gonna be a comic head now. Like especially now. Like I will admit I let peer pressure and other things like that deter my resolve. But that ain't happening no more. Comics are here to stay whether people like it or not. But besides your love of symbiotes, who are your other favorite comic book characters? I mean, I know you said Spawn, but I think a lot of us, especially around our age, Spawn is definitely going to be one of our tops because I remember when that hit and that's one of the series that I'm so mad that I gave up. I had at least the first 100 issues, easy. Those are one of the ones that I had to give up. And I'm looking back now, I just want to be like, man, I should have said, man, I'm keeping the comics. Girl, get the hell out of my house. Like, I really wish I would have done that. But 2020 being hindsight, 2020, of course.
Yeah. Nah, man. Wolverine has always been one of my all-time favorites, and Old Man Venom, or I'm sorry, Old Man Logan. Old Man Logan is single-handedly what pulled me back into collecting. It had been out for a little while. One of my old buddies that me and him always had this nerd stuff. See, I watched one of your prior videos with Illust, and you guys were talking about Star Wars. I'm not into Star Wars. I do like Boba Fett. I can appreciate the Mandalorian, all that good jazz. The lore has never grabbed me, kind of like how Marvel has. But he's always been like my nerd guy. But he's in the Star Wars and Marvel and yada yada yada. And he called me up one time and he's like, man, I feel like I haven't talked in forever about this. You still reading comics at all? Blah blah blah. And I was like, nah, not really. Just haven't had the time, and I'm just doing my thing. He's like, man, motherfuckers are killing each other and like eating each other, and like all this crazy shit's going on. And I'm like, what are you talking about? And he was telling me like there was a phase of Marvel where cannibalism was like that was where every story
Yep.
went to. I think the Blob in Ultimates ate Wasp or some shit,
Yep.
and then
Yep. And I
old
remember reading
Logan.
that, like it was graphic too. It wasn't like
Yeah,
they like did it all off panel or something. Like you literally saw
yeah,
like he's holding half of her body and just blood's just dripping out. I'm like, wait a minute, this is a Marvel comic.
yeah.
What's going on here? Like,
And that's the thing. So he's like, bro, you got to check out Old Man like Logan and like see what happens. And he kind of, it just made me interested. So I went around and I found Old Man Logan and I was reading it. And the whole scene where all of the Marvel villains just rush the X Mansion and start killing all the children. And Wolverine just snaps and he's like cutting fucking people straight down the center. There was blood and guts and brains everywhere, and it was bodies on top of bodies for panels and panels and panels. And I was just like, oh my god, like this is the Marvel I've always wanted because Wolverine, that's what he does. That is what he
yeah,
fucking does. And it's even
he
in the
is the best
movies,
at
when
what
he
he
pops his
does.
balls, yeah. And he's like punching people with his fist in the movies and dumb shit. It was like this motherfucker could take on anybody. Like I want to see that. I want to. I'm an adult at this point, so if I want to pay attention
Yep.
to Wolverine or any of these characters, I want to see something that's going to hold my attention. So I was just sold. And then spoiler alert: Mysterio snaps his fingers,
Yep.
and Wolverine was just killing the children the whole time. And I was just like, oh my god! And then
Yep.
the freaking Venom symbiote was in there, and it attached to the freaking Tyrannosaurus from the Savage Land, and it was just another like, oh my god, like this is fucking crazy. So
Yeah.
I went to other comic shop, and I think it was around the Civil War time. I'm not sure, but what is it? Siege, Spider-Man
Yep.
Siege. I saw that there, and it's got a huge Venom, and it looked like a movie. And that's the thing. These comic books nowadays, the art is damn near movie concept art. The storylines are
Yep.
damn near movies and everything. You can read a comic and just see it play out as a movie. But that cover, I was like, damn, Venom looks badass. Like the way that he was drawn, it was like that's fucking brutal. I open it up, first scene, Venom is biting the heads off of Asgardians and just having a feast. And I was just like, and that was it. Like, I'm fucking
Yep.
back. I'm into it. But Ghost Rider's always been a favorite of mine. I feel like Ghost Rider really hasn't hit his prime. You know what I mean?
I definitely agree. I mean, partially because of Nicolas Cage, in my opinion. But like, and you mentioned two people like Wolverine, one of my all-time favorites, and like you said, he could take on anyone. He was
Anyone.
introduced to fight the Hulk, like the Hulk. Do you guys? I'm sure you know who the Hulk is. Like, come on.
Uh,
Like, and my thing, and then I'm sure if you've looked at any of my stuff, I'm big on making Wolverine short again because that was what was so amazing about the character is he was created to take on the Hulk, who is in the comics anywhere from 7 to 8 feet tall, and this guy's five
mhm.
foot three, jumping around, kicking the crap out of him. And I have let's say a hard time not doing this. So I have to ask: do you think that when the MCU brings back Wolverine, because we all know he's coming, there's no question about that, and Hugh Jackman has said he's done. He's adamantly said the way Logan ended was perfect, and I agree. Do you think that the MCU needs to hashtag make Wolverine short again?
If you mean that the MCU should have Wolverine, yes, it should. Number one, he's a freaking Avenger. I mean, are we just not going
Mm-hmm.
to acknowledge that at all? But dude, he is the end all. Age of Ultron came down to Wolverine. Did it not? That whole movie would have been all about Wolverine if he would have been in the Avengers. Um, dude, Wolverine is literally like the end all. Now, I guess, but beyond him is the Century maybe, but like Wolverine is it. When shit's hitting the fan, Wolverine's your guy. Doesn't matter what it
Yep.
is, he'll go for it. So, yes, the MCU needs Wolverine. needs Wolverine. I'm waiting for that day, man.
So it's close. It's right around the corner. If the reports that I'm hearing are true, we'll have the first 100% X-Men in the MCU, Doctor Strange, in the Multiverse of Madness.
That would be awesome, and I totally can wrap my brain around it. If anything crazy is going to happen with mergers between characters in the MCU and all that, it's definitely going to come down to that movie. I just watched the What If, the recent one with
Yes.
Doctor Strange. That was pretty damn
So
good, man.
amazing. Oh my
That was
God. Like,
good.
I was in awe. Like, just the progression of that show. Like, it went from like, oh man, this is really cool. We've got Captain Carter. Then it was like,
Yeah,
oh my God, it's T'Challa. We've got Chadwick talking again.
yeah,
And then you
man.
go to freaking all the Avengers getting taken out and shit, and like this
Yeah,
dark Hank Pym. And you're like, okay, this is getting a little crazy. And then like it just goes deep end. Like Doctor Strange just like
yeah.
destroys an entire universe. Like what just happened? Like, are you
That was
kidding me?
amazing.
Like, it was awesome.
And that's the thing, man. If we could get, oh my God, I've been saying this for years and years and years. If we could get mature rated animation, and I'm not talking about any porn for any of the freaks out there. I mean, like, you know what I mean? Like violent
Yeah.
fights and just crazy scenarios. Like, dude, animation, Marvel animation at that level would, I the amount of success it would create is just, I can't even comprehend it. I hope
No,
to see that happen.
absolutely. I mean, look
Imagine
at what
Maximum Carnage.
Joker the Killing Joke did.
Yeah, yeah.
You know what I mean?
But
That book, that movie was
imagine,
amazing.
imagine Maximum Carnage in animated form,
Yeah.
like great animation, just straight. Oh my God, it would
No,
be incredible.
how about Old Man Logan?
I would, dude. I would fanboy so much, so much,
Because
so much, man.
that's where my mind went immediately. Because I have a hard time envisioning them doing that live action because of how loved Wolverine is. You know, like
Mhm.
to have him just killing all the good guys, even in this this different timeline. I don't know if they have the audacity to do it. Like personally, I don't think they
No,
do. So I could, but I definitely
no.
see it happening in like a what if. Like definitely,
Yeah,
they're already showing that they will. I don't know how about if they'll go like R type, but they're definitely showing that they're willing to push the envelope into what our favorite heroes are willing to do.
man. I think being able to sit down and watch like an old man Logan storyline animated out with my friends and family, just watch their reaction to just how visceral and badass it is. Like, see, that's the thing with the Venom movie. I felt like my friends and family that I watched it with were kind of looking at me like, this what you're into, Joe? This your boy right here? And it's just like, ah. But if they could see Venom the way he really is, oh my God, dude.
No, I
I feel like
agree
Deadpool is one
100%.
of the only movies. Deadpool is one of the only movies that like the storyline, origins changed and all that dumb shit. But as far as like character is, like that movie is so spot on. He's the most spot on
Well,
character.
absolutely. And now the only one I like, and we keep going back to him, but Logan, that the R Wolverine, like I thought that was an absolute masterpiece.
See, I'm gonna have to agree and partly disagree, but that's my
Oh,
preference. So I was so excited about that movie, and we go there to watch it, and I got a couple of my friends and my girl with me, and right away the scene where they're trying to steal the tires off his limo, and he gets out and they just start beating the piss out of him, and he just goes berserk and limbs just go flying. I was like, yes, yes, like this is how this movie's going to be. Like, fuck yeah, dude, we are in for some shit. And then it just turned into Wolverine just getting his ass beat by himself the whole movie, and I was just like, oh, the scene in the woods where he took all the shit and I was like, here we go, and then he slowly died down, and you know, I thought that movie was going to go in such a different direction. You know what I mean?
mm.
And then it was a great movie. I don't hate it, but it just fucked me up, man. I was in the theaters like this, and then slowly like just
Right.
everything's just like what's happening? What's happening? Like, oh my god, what is happening? And then yeah, and then oh fuck.
Right.
But
Well, I wish they would have tried that maybe a little sooner, like the R, because we all knew it was gonna be his last one. So it's not like they could do anything else but wrap up the story. You know what I mean?
they
Like,
did. And they did a
and
great job of that, for sure.
yes, yeah,
For sure.
and that's why I think that no matter what the reports are, both Hugh Jackman and Patrick Stewart are done.
Yeah.
They tied the bow on their careers for it. Now there is a confirmed, not by Marvel, but confirmed rumor that there will be a Professor Xavier in Doctor Strange 2, and he's going to be fighting Wanda,
That would be incredible.
as well as the
Considering
introduction of a weird Illuminati team.
Wanda is Magneto's daughter, is she not?
Okay, now of course in the comics, yes and no, depending on when you're talking about. But in the MCU, we don't know for sure. They've never said.
Yeah,
I mean, because in WandaVision we saw who was their parents, and it wasn't him. I've always said that was not actually their parents. I've said for a while that was someone that Magneto gave them to protect them. That's what I've been saying from day one. Like it's like there's no way those are their parents. No, sorry, no. Like
that's like a fake family, kind of like the Black Widow.
Yes,
that's what it seemed like to me.
Yes,
because
exactly.
Am I crazy, or didn't Quicksilver and Magneto just encounter somewhere in the movies or show or something?
In the final
the
final X-Men movies. Yeah.
It
was X-Men Apocalypse.
I know they encountered, and they kind of hinted at it, but then you got the whole.
I actually have X-Men on. Let me see if I can do it without messing everything up. Can you see the X-Men Apocalypse? Yeah. That's actually the movie poster right there.
That's what's up.
Make sure I don't mess it. Wait a minute.
Hold
on. I gotta make sure my whole crap doesn't fall over, because I try to do something cool. All right, there we go.
You got me inspired. This is the only poster I have, but I have it just because.
Oh, that is sick.
Yeah. I'm not saying that I love this movie, but this is a badass work of art, and just the whole. It's just awesome.
Yeah, and I had my reservations about Venom. I mean, some of it was pretty cool, but I definitely wouldn't say I love it. Like the one thing I do love about it, and I've said this numerous times, is I love the fact that they had Tom Hardy, who is wildly understood as being this like heartthrob hunk. All the women love him. And they spent the entire movie making him look like shit. Like they didn't just like have him take his shirt off randomly just to get people in. Hey, Air Spider, how you doing? We got one of our first comment.
Yeah,
Air Spiders in here.
This guy don't like me, so he's probably gonna say some shit, but whatever.
But yeah, it's I got that comment distracted me. What was I saying? That's why I don't do shows live. Oh yeah. So like I definitely thought they were gonna have like this scene where he just takes his shirt off, so all the women are like, "Oh my god, let's go see it, honey." And they didn't. They had him look like he was about to die the entire time. But yeah, that was one thing I really did like. They didn't try to like just over sexualize him just to get women in the building to make some money. And that's it's all about making money, yes, but I don't like when it's like specifically like aimed at that. Like, hey, I'm gonna put a sexy scene in here just to get people in the building. No, I'm good. I'm good.
See, remember the first ever like trailer where they showed absolutely no Venom and it was just Tom Hardy running around? So
yeah,
I was talking to like my best friend about that. He finds it so hilarious how much I dislike that movie. He just loves cracking on me about it. But that first trailer, I was just like, man, what the fuck was that? Like, they didn't show anything. And he kind of told me, he was like, dude, I think that they're setting it up because, as you said, all these chicks and all these people love Tom Hardy, and they're going to go see this movie not knowing what it is, and they're just going to show up to like a symbiotic horror show. And I'm like, man, I hope you're fucking right. And you were wrong, Barry. You were wrong. That's what I was kind of hoping for. I was like, you know what? That would be a very clever, like, just imagine like all these like college girls showing up to see Tom Hardy, and they see Tom Hardy looking all dirty with this huge alien monster just eating people left and right. Like, they would have been like leaving the
that's
theater.
another one of those things where I don't think they had the, like, Sony just definitely didn't have the balls to like go all in on Venom. Like, they just didn't. Like, if they would have made that an R and watched, like, you, like when he bit that guy's head off, if you would have seen him actually bite this head off, I think it would have like hit so much harder for like not only us like fans of the character, but in general, like now, like I think that like fans now are okay with seeing that.
Yeah, they definitely are. I think it would have won over a little too well. My whole viewpoint of that movie is it was a tester for them, and it was kind of a fluke, but it ended up doing well worldwide. So they all knew they had something successful that was going to make them money. So I think they were just so relaxed, and they got Tom Hardy as the main character. They were just so very relaxed, like, oh, we got it in the bag, baby. Like, this is going to be the best thing ever. And it kind of flopped, in my opinion. It flopped so bad that they literally got rid of the first director to bring on a new guy for the second part. They don't do that unless you fucking suck. That's like the first Batman, what is it? It's not Dark Knight Rises, whatever which one it is. Like, they were like, okay, after this, we're dropping Christopher Nolan and we're getting this guy, and he's going to finish the fuck. They don't do that unless you suck. And that shit sucked. So they dropped that dude, and now they got Andy Serkis, and I'm interested to see what he's going to do with it, you know?
Yeah, I'm definitely curious to see where they're gonna go with Carnage, because from what I'm hearing, this is like Venom 2 is gonna kind of set up a crossover Maximum Carnage event or Maximum Style event, at least.
That would be the best thing like to happen, but I don't think that's going to happen. What I think's about to happen is with the whole Venom versus Carnage, the whole Toxin origin, because Pat Mulligan is in the movie, and that is the host to the Toxin symbiote. And the first movie ends with Carnage. I could see the second movie ending with Toxin.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I could definitely see that, and they've definitely been working Toxin in more in the comics too. Like even like the casual Venom fan will know who Toxin is now. You know what I mean? So I could definitely, and that's one thing like I see what's going on right now. Like, think about it. Kang the Conqueror, one of the biggest characters in Marvel, never has had his own run. Now he does, because obviously he's in the MCU. Well, and they want to show everyone, hey, look, this is who we're talking about. This is who's coming. Get this, just to hype it up. And I don't get me wrong, I'm not mad. I love Kang the Conqueror. I'm happy he's got his own series now. You know, I'm not mad at all. I'm just saying, like, if you keep your eye open and look at what's going on in the comics, you can kind of get a feel of what's coming in the MCU, and vice versa, actually.
That is so freaking true. Shang-Chi just got his series right before the release of the movie. Like, who the fuck was reading Shang-Chi or collecting Shang-Chi? I've noticed that came out, and then I think somewhere around the same time they released the whole MCU Marvel movies upcoming, and I saw Shang-Chi in there, and I'm like, yeah, okay.
Yep. No, absolutely, and that's another reason why, like, I'm so big on like everything, like, where I just watch the comics, the movies, the TV show. I get into everything, because even if they're not like connected, like in an actual connected universe, they are connected in some way. Like, one will influence the other, and vice versa. And I like that they're doing that. To be honest, I'm a huge fan of all this content being focused together. Especially when we have the multiverse, you know what I mean? Like, in the comics, our world, like the world that we're in right now, is actually a Marvel universe. You know what I mean? Like, so why not just do that? mean, it makes no sense not to.
It's true.
This is my opinion. But and we got sidetracked again. We can't keep on topic. So here we go. Let's get back. So how did you get into being a comic book artist?
That was all by chance. I blame that on my true believer, my boy Jeremy. I definitely appreciate it. He set up the King and Black Ink tournament a while back, and it originally was supposed to be like a March Madness type of deal during the month of March, and it just exploded, man. There was over 60 artists that got brought into there, and by the time I got to the end of it, I don't know if this pre-set up or what, but Key Hero and Encased Comics were, I guess, watching what was going on, and they noticed me, and as soon as the competition was over, they reached out to me, and I honestly didn't think it was real. I was like, there's no way. But it was fucking real, man, and I'm very, very glad. I'm very fortunate and very lucky for that, and I owe Jeremy. And one of these days, it's going to come through. It's going to come through. So, he's actually got another ink what is it? Ink King and Black Ink Contest Part 2, and the winner of that will actually get a contract with these exclusive companies on cover. So if anybody sees awesome. That's drawing, look up Venomized True Believer, enter his contest. Yeah, I don't know if this was planned from the beginning. I never got that from Jeremy. I didn't know. I didn't expect. There was no rumors or whispers of any of that going on. It was just after the contest was over, about like a few weeks later, I got contacted. And that's the beauty of Instagram.
Yes. Yeah. I mean, if Instagram didn't exist, I wouldn't have been able to reach out to you or Key Heroes. Like, I buy a lot of comics from Key Hero, and then just I just randomly was like, hey, would you be interested? Because I the whole idea of being like an exclusive retailer, it just entices. It's just so enticing, and I wanted to know more about it. And then he was like, hey, why don't you talk to this guy too? I was like, oh, okay, we'll do that. So what was your first comic that you did? Was it with Key Hero?
It was with Key Hero, and it was for the Department of Truth issue 12. And it was actually, I got the original art right here.
Oh, hell yeah.
So this was wild. They reached out with me with a concept of the 80s horror movie homages, and they had one idea, and the other one they just kind of were like, whatever you want to do. And I immediately thought of Hellraiser. So this is technically the first ever cover I've drawn. Yeah, it's hard to see, but there's a lot of detail. This is technically the first. Sick. I still can't believe it, man. I still can't believe it. And then this was the partner cover. And there's a lot of freaking detail in this one too.
Yep. I saw they just had doesn't that release today?
Actually the new one. So here's my my third cover. Uh-oh. Hold on, I got a screen that popped up. There we are. So here's the third cover, which is the Corn if it's peachy.
Oh yeah.
This one I'm super excited about. This one releases today. This goes on pre-sale. But
that's at Key Hero Comics, right?
Key Hero and Encased Comics. And this is the only 3 covers that I have so far, but there's more to come.
That's awesome. And I love new the passion that you can see, like, yo, look at, I got these art. Let me show you. Like I love new, not because obviously you're not a new artist like in the scheme of art, because I'm sure to be as good as you are right now, you've been doing it for a while. Excuse me, but to see that love of, I've got my comic, you know what I mean? Like I love that feel. Like I can't wait. Like, so excuse me, I sell on Whatnot, and they actually just dropped that they're gonna have an Invincible Tyler Kirkham exclusive with the first 100 sellers on the back. Invincible #1. My selling, Nerdtooine is literally on the back of an Invincible #1. Like I'm losing my shit over here. Like, what do you mean? Oh my god! So I can only imagine the feeling you get when it's your actual art. Like
It's
you have Department of Truth covers. Like that's one of the biggest and like greatest new runs that we have. That's going to be optioned, and it's just going to get more and more hot. And you have your own covers. Like how that's amazing. Like
dude,
that's like so cool.
it's surreal, and it's I can't even I don't know. I can't even really describe it. It's very interesting because at the same time, I work like sometimes 50 hours a week. I'm a carpenter full time, so to be able to do this and still be able to like have do my normal life, I'm very fortunate to be able to do that. But it's just wild, man. Like this is something I've been drawing my entire life, and it all stems from comic books. Like I said, Mars Attacks. I saw that shit when I was like, I don't know, 2, 3 years old, and that just burned into my brain forever. Like I understood it wasn't real. It didn't scare me like the whole step that's some man drew this. And then I remember going to some flea market or something when I was a kid, and the guy draw Spawn, and it just kind of clicked. So I was always drawing, you know, pretty much my whole life. And the fact that that's actually going to be published on a cover of a series that seems to be doing very well is just it's just mind-boggling. I can't wait to get a comp copy, and once I hold it in my hand, I think that's when it's all going to like just smack the piss out of me. Like, oh my
I
god, this is
oh my
actually
god,
freaking happening.
I and again like for me it's a downgrade scale from what you're about to experience, but I know exactly. I'm like I cannot wait to get that comp copy in my hand and just flip it over and go, holy
Dude,
fuck, there
it's
I am.
official.
That's me.
It's
Oh,
official.
wait,
We
and
are
then flip it back over. Yep, that is an invincible one. Hold on, let me go ahead and put this down. Let me just go ahead and ow. Oh, yep. Nope, no, I'm
yep.
awake. This is real. This is
Uh-oh. I lost you. You froze. Where's the technical difficulty? So yeah, we're both comic book guys. I don't know if this is still going, but your shit's on a comic, my shit's on a comic. We're official comic book guys. Don't let anybody ever tell you less. Hmm. Man, what happened? Okay, there's just me now. I'll give it a few more and see if he pops back in. I guess this is still going live. But yeah, if he doesn't pop back in, I'll go ahead and end this. Yeah. Well, that was very fun. Maybe we'll get back another day and we'll finish this and conclude it. I don't know if anybody's still here, but yeah, Key Hero texts me. Thinks he got booted, but love the well, it was fun. I'll definitely be back. All right then.
So I had some technical difficulties. My wife. Ladies and gentlemen, I do apologize. We had some technical difficulties. Thank you to Joseph for the time we had, and looking forward to maybe having him back on the future and not having an issue like this again. But if you like the content, please do me a favor, like, share, subscribe. Hopefully we won't have any more technical difficulties on future shows. So again, thank you for joining me, and everyone go follow Old Man Venom on Instagram, Joseph, and thanks for joining me. Till next time, this is Nerdpool Prime signing off.